Luckily, the first cult, Budhai, was clever enough to curse Uncle Long before the gang leader, a brilliant self-rescue move saving his life. When the corrupt cops returned him to the bar, they were ready to use him as a bargaining chip for another gang member. But Uncle Long's right-hand man, Mickey, suddenly showed up. That's right, he wasn't about to go easy on those tomato-shaped thugs. After hearing Mickey's friendly greetings, the intimidating cops had to unshackle Budhai, as no one wants a storm on another's territory. Yet, the matter wasn't over. Uncle Long in NY learned something shocking. He actually found out that Mickey's gloves had been swiped. How ridiculous is that? It's like a scene straight out of a fairy tale. His gloves had actually been taken away. Was this really some kind of prank going on? While he was dealing with the headache, Uncle Long in New York had some news that sent him into a spiral. His gang members who were supposed to take care of his daughter while he was behind bars for over 2 decades had actually taken the chance to mess with Dina. This news hit him like a wake-up call. Infuriated, he stormed to the hospital, intent on confronting his ailing older brother for some answers. He briefly described what had happened, and then suddenly erupted like a volcano, angrily staring at his leader's wide-eyed, innocent gaze. Realizing his brother was completely clueless about it, he finally relaxed his guard and vented all his pent-up anger on that poor gang member. Meanwhile, those oblivious gang members were still having a grand old time. They didn't realize Uncle Long was about to crash the party, turning it into a surprise show. In a blaze of anger, he swung a punch, and in an instant, the room transformed into a war zone. Only when the cries of his enemies faded into the whispers of regret did he finally release his grip. The terrified gazes of everyone around, Uncle Long showed no hesitation. Though he avenged his daughter, he knew these things could very well provoke the Mafia's wrath, but he also understood that any retaliation would land squarely on him, and his daughter was in no way going to be harmed. After giving Dina a shot to prevent any further troubles, he hurriedly left New York to return to Tulsa and prepare for the impending dangers. Little did he know, Uncle Long had miscalculated this time. Kiki had the goal to inform his dad he planned to take out both Uncle Long and his daughter Dina. Upon hearing these words, the older brother, who was already furious, instantly flew into a towering rage and summoned Kiki. However, hold on, the story was far from reaching its conclusion. Given the vast gap in abilities between his son and Uncle Long, the older brother, infuriated, let loose a barrage of insults, practically wishing it had never happened. "Why should I treat you like this?" His brother couldn't fathom that his words would soon unleash a tsunami of troubles. The next day, to deal with the issue, the older brother called for Uncle Long's inner circle, hoping he'd check out the situation in Tulsa, but that very night, something made the ever-dutiful Kiki, who tended to his dad every night, made a jaw-dropping decision out of spite over his father's earlier humiliation. It wasn't until his father's breaths were no more that he finally loosened his clenched hands, thinking, "Finally, I can take on Uncle Long." First, he aimed to give Uncle Long's daughter Tina in New York a warning. That night, her husband met looking Kiki right after exiting the garage. Completely disregarding his father's last words, he grabbed the husband, delivering a savage beating and even broke one of his arms, leaving him behind with a final kick. The next day, a furious Tina immediately called Uncle Long in Tulsa. At first, he thought it was just a regular robbery and had no clue about the tangled web, but since her husband's wallet wasn't touched, he instantly felt something was off and sensed foul play. Soon, the news about his brother's heart attack spread throughout the gang, and all the heads gathered to pay their respects. Meanwhile, the cunning and scheming Kiki would never let this opportunity slip away. He directly framed the elder brother and insinuated that his own father had been driven away by Uncle Lon. He hoped to rally the leaders together for a clean slate, but his flimsy excuses soon raised eyebrows, leading to an even bigger joke soon after. So Kiki called Uncle Long, claiming after his father's passing, he had a lot on his mind and only had Uncle Long left to rely on. He wanted to turn enemies into allies. Hearing this, Uncle Long realized what kind of game Kiki was playing. Under the circumstances, he had to play along. After hanging up, little Carla next to him applauded Kiki's great performance. Just as Uncle Long suspected, they were there to shake down the turf. The gang leader got stopped on the street. Subtitle, however, he managed to drive away the cops, blocking the way with merely 2 sentences. The officers were so frightened that their legs turned weak, yet they still put on a brave front and uttered a tough remark. Upon hearing this, they slunk away in embarrassment. Caption, "I don't want to die," said the cop with smarts. But they didn't know, Uncle Lon laughed. "I left my gun at the hotel." He was so unfazed because he recognized these 2 troublemakers as operatives from the rival gang. A few days ago, a fierce clash erupted between the 2 sides over control of the local Storm Flag Market. The head of the motorcycle gang, Wirt, directly invited Uncle Long for a chat in an effort to prevent the situation from escalating. However, used to calling the shots in Tulsa, Uncle Long was quick to lay down his demands, which infuriated Wirt. Long didn't hold back, saying if he wanted to swing, nobody could stop him. Since negotiations fell apart, they decided to settle it the old-fashioned way. That night, after finishing drinks, Uncle Long and Mickey were about to head home when a bullet came flying through the door. Though the attacker was fierce, Uncle Long was about to roll over. He immediately instructed Mickey to grab the shotgun and follow him around back. "Get ready. We can't let them pull a fast one on us." Uncle Long planned a big gift, and next day, Wirt got a mysterious package containing a biker's vest. It sent him into a furious rage, and he racked his brain for ways to retaliate against Uncle Long. But little did he know, an even bigger threat was lurking nearby. The police had already turned his ammunition expert and were gearing up to gather evidence for a full-blown blast. Meanwhile, that female officer was operating undercover, hunting for proof. Just as luck would have it, she was about to check the computer when she bumped into Wirt, who saw her panicked expression and pieced it all together. Unable to tolerate betrayal from within, he swiftly dispatched her. The agent's disappearance alerted Bella, who rushed men to raid the biker haven for her. Little did they know, the sly Wirt had already hidden himself away. Nevertheless, in his rush to leave, he failed to take along the laptop containing crucial evidence. While checking the accounts, the cops discovered that Wirt had been raking in illegal profits on a global scale. After handing him a wake-up call, Bella made his way to Uncle Lon, eager to take credit, claiming the situation was under control and urging him to avoid stirring up. However, Uncle Lon didn't take it to heart and instead warmly invited him upstairs for a drink.